Hey, I'm Dave.
And I'm Mike.
And we're the Nfgeeks.
That's right. And we're going to talk about, as usual, our favorite thing in the whole world. Because we haven't talked about it enough. 15, 18 videos, whatever we got, not enough. What are we going to talk about, Dave?
The Myers-Briggs.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because we haven't talked about it enough.
Nope.
So, for this video, Dave, I wanted to talk about an idea that you and I have talked about before. We've talked about this many times. And that is this concept I have about your actual family and your true family, and how that relates to the Myers-Briggs. So first I'll give a little explanation of what I'm talking about. And so first, your actual family, that's your actual biological family. That's the people you grew up with, you lived with, maybe you live with them now, but that's the people who brought you into this world and you are sort of genetically connected to. Okay, that's your actual family. Your true family are the people who you can identify with and you can also connect with at the deepest level. Okay, and these are your true soulmates in life. And again, I'm not just talking, when I say soulmate, I'm not necessarily talking about lovers. You know, not every lover is a soulmate. Your soulmate is someone who you can share with on the deepest level. And your true family are those people who understand you, you understand them, you share a set of core beliefs and values and understandings and consciousness. And the Myers-Briggs thing is that those are the four temperaments. Okay, I would say that that each temperament is sort of its own family, its own tribe. Okay, so your true family, so for us, our true family are other NFs. The NF is our true family, and other NFs, whatever they are our true family. The NTs, that's their true family. The SJs, that's their true family. The SPs, that's their true family. And I think that in order to feel sane and to feel good about yourself, you need to seek out your own kind, your own tribe, your true tribe, which is again, the four temperaments. And what I often bring up when I talk about this is the ugly duckling story. We all know the story of the ugly duckling. And the ugly duckling, what people forget in the story is that the ugly duckling does not realize that he's a swan until he sees the other swans. And once he comes into contact with the other swans, he realizes, oh, I'm not ugly. I'm not a duck. I'm a swan. I'm one of them. I'm actually beautiful. And that's the experience I have when I meet other NFs, and I hopefully that's the experience that the other types have when the NTs meet the other NTs, the SJs meet the other SJs. You find your true family, your true tribe. Now, let me say that your true family and your actual family may cross over. And you may have people in your actual family who are in your true family. Your whole family might be, your whole actual family might be made up of your true family, and that happens for lots of people. Not us. Neither of us. And that's one of the things Dave and I have in common, is that we were NFs, soul NFs, ugly duckling NFs, in an SJ pond. So Dave, could you talk about that experience? Being the NF amongst SJs.
Well, this relates back to a previous video we did.
Yeah, that's right. We sort of touched upon it a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll also then add in talk about your actual family. I mean, your true family too. Bring in meeting NFs if you can.
Well, the hardest part about an NF living in an SJ home is just, or I guess really just any type living in another type's household, would be that they just don't really understand, and it's kind of difficult, especially when it comes to you want support for your ambitions in life, and they don't really they resist vehemently, my example would be that I want to, I'm a poet, I'm a writer, and I like humanities, school-wise, and I'm a Buddhist, and
a hipster.
And a hipster.
Yeah.
And in
all things SJs love.
Right. And I can't really just mentioning this raises eyebrows for them. You know, they'll be like, why? You know, like they can't really grasp the concept. Well, they can like, I guess, understand like Buddhism. Okay, yeah, it's religion. Okay, I get that. You know, well, at least he's not an atheist. You know, but it's hard when you'd like for them to support you in your endeavors, and it just never that thought never comes to fruition. They're always like, you know, and I don't really fault them for that. You know,
Sure.
I mean, and it goes for any case. It's just that you don't love them any less.
No, that's absolutely right.
You know, I still love my parents and all that.
Sure, and me too. I still love my family as well.
Yeah.
In fact, having them, knowing that they were SJs, because I made all of them do the Myers Briggs, every one of them, and finding out that they were SJs really allowed me to forgive them in a lot of ways for being under their fascist-like boot stomping for so long.
Yeah.
But allowed me to forgive that they weren't trying to make my life a total misery.
Yeah.
At all times, that they were really just coming from just a different set of values, and that's all, and that they really weren't bad people at all. And it allowed me to accept their strengths and what they're good at, and also allowed me to see their limitations, and accept them as they are.
Yeah.
You know, my actual family.
Well, the thing is, you know, it's like I understand their perspective to a certain degree. You know, I mean, NFs have limits too.
Yeah, that's right. We do.
Yeah, and it's just like, you know, I understand that they just want me to have a job and support myself. You know, I mean, I do have.
Well, that's
job.
an SJ mantra.
Yes, yes, it is. I mean, I do have a job. I have 2 jobs, but you know, 2's not enough, I guess. But it's just, you know, I understand that perspective, but at the same time, you know, it would be nice if they saw the bigger picture, you know. But you know, you can't ask everything from somebody. You know, you can only ask what they're capable of. You know, which is the same in reverse. Like they can only ask of me what I'm capable of. You know, I mean, so. But you know, it's difficult at times.
Yeah, and I also think it's one thing that makes it difficult is just for NFs, because it says Nfgeeks, is that the NF experience is not very translatable, it seems. Other NFs understand each other perfectly, but trying to explain it to the other temperaments, and we sound crazy. And the reverse is not true. We don't agree with your position sometimes, or because we're coming from another position, but I find that NFs understand the other 3 orientations positions. When an NT is talking, or an SJ or an SP, we understand where they're coming from. We would never do that, you know, what they do, you know, but we also still understand where they're coming from. But somehow, when we try to explain back to them our position, we can't communicate, we can't translate it back. So that's why I think it's very important for NFs to find, certainly NFs to find other NFs, to find your true family. So if you're an NF, your true family, well, we're your true family, us, for starters. And Goodwich is your true family, you know, out in Great Britain. Yeah, that's right. That's right. And that, I think that's also true for the other types too. SJs should seek out other SJs. NTs should seek out other NTs. SPs should find other SPs. Find your tribe, you know, and join with them. And you know, it's hard for me too, because you know, my son, my only son, is an SJ. He's an ISTJ. He's not only an SJ, but he's also my shadow at the same time. And I often wonder, you know, if our roles were reversed, if he was the father and I was the son, we'd probably hate each other. It would be a misery, I think. Because I think I would see him as a tyrant, an emotionalist tyrant, and I would be a big crybaby slacker. Now, he might think that now, but he's not in the position of power, you know what I mean? He has a duty. Well, even though my dad's a crybaby slacker, I'm going to be dutiful to him, you know. What do you think, David? Your father's an ISTJ, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Like, it's frustrating at times. Uh, he doesn't necessarily empathize.
Well, of course not.
Well, but well, but I don't fault him for that. I mean, he does provide for me and all that stuff, and he just wants the best for me. But it's just, it would be nice if there was, less resistance to my ambitions and my goals in life. I, I feel that to a lot of times that there's just way too much resistance. I mean, I understand that you just want the best for me, but you gotta also, I mean, understand that this is what I want to do, and I think perhaps they accept that, and they'll accept it more when I actually start, um, when I'm further down that path. But when it
excuse me,
Gesundheit.
Thank you.
But towards the beginning of traveling that path, it's pretty much all resistance from them.
Sure. Just keep in mind, it's because they're not trying to make your life miserable. They're coming from an SJ point of view,
right?
And SJs, are very concrete in their needs and what needs to be done and cause and effect and where what causes the effect of having actual needs being met.
Yeah.
I've told you this story, but my sister and my brother-in-law are actually the same types as your parents. My brother-in-law is an ISTJ,
that's right,
and my sister is an ISFJ. And I was telling them about you, and I was telling you, your troubles as an NF trying to deal with your SJ parents. And my sister was like, well, what's the big deal? And I said, well, look, you two guys are SJs, and you're actually the same types as Dave's parents. But how would you like it if you had a son, a young adult son, who said to you, Mom and Dad, I want to be a poet. And my sister said to me, that would be awful. That's what she said, just in that tone. Yeah.
And it's true.
Yeah. And and the funny thing is level of sophistication or education doesn't really matter in terms of your values. There's something interesting in this, because now my sister and brother-in-law are very cosmopolitan, very sophisticated. They live in a very large metropolitan city, and they're both extremely educated, graduate degrees, very educated people. Your parents are blue collar people, and yet they share the exact same values. They see the world. That's what I love about the Myers-Briggs. Like, you would think, like, maybe because of this difference in class, or urban culture, or education would make a difference, but it doesn't. It doesn't. SJs are SJs. No matter what they're doing. And the same thing with us, too. And that's not just SJs. That's true about the SPs, the NFs, all of us.
Yeah.
As well. So how do you feel about your true family? Where do you find your true family, Dave?
How do I find them? That's up to the cosmic forces. But when I find them, it's a breath of fresh air. I find it's like, okay, I'm not insane, because this can go for any type living in another type's household, or just being surrounded by, just a different temperament. It's just, no one gets you, and no one understands what you're trying to do or trying to say, and that's frustrating, and it's really bothersome at times, and it kind of makes you feel like maybe there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, the ugly duckling.
Yeah, and when you find people of your temperament, and they completely understand you, or maybe not completely, but to like more of a degree than anyone else you've been exposed to, it's really fantastic. It's a great feeling.
It's actually a relief. Yeah. I've always found it's a relief finding other NFs. Always.
Yeah, there's no comparable experience, really. I mean,
yeah.
So
we're out of time. So go find your true. You'll find your true family members and have an experience of them. Whatever your temperament is, whether you're an SJ, an SP, NT, or NF, go find your tribe and be amongst them.
Yeah, and tell us what you think about true families, actual families.
Yeah, that would be great.
I'm Dave. This is Mike. Nfgeeks.
Great.
Take it easy.